The following is a Podbeard production.
EST 2016. This is interviews, music reviews, opinions, and more. This is The Hodder Show.
What is up, everybody? We're rolling out of here today on a very special Hodder Show rewind here on the Hodder Show on Podbeard Network. I don't usually like to do these so close together, but unfortunately, just to total transparency, I had a guest lined up for today as I record this. Unfortunately, due to a huge miscommunication, we were not able to do the episode today, and I had nothing else in the can. So I'm like, you know what? I still want to have some content. As you guys know, this show has been around for over 4 years. Or if you don't know, this show has been around for over 4 years. So I said, you know what? Let's go back. I do love doing these Hodder Show rewinds. They're fun to go back and just see how far I've come as a storyteller and as a speaker and a podcaster. And this one in particular is super, super special to me because it is one of my favorite episodes I ever did. And it is also the most popular, most downloaded, most listened to episode of The Hodder Show in the history of the show by a landslide. It's almost like a bad joke. Every single week, no matter what, without fail, this episode gets at least a few downloads or a few listens or whatever. It's just, it's hilarious. It's like this really, it's awesome, but it's almost like a bad joke where I get my like, I'll like check my week and it'll be like, oh, the new episode got this many. And it's like, God damn it, this episode still got some as well. But it's because of the subject matter. And that, of course, my friends, is Layne Stayley, a tribute to Layne Stayley specifically from well over 4 years ago, April 5th, 2016 was when I did do this episode here. And it's cool. Layne was so special to me. You know, he's my favorite vocalist. Alice in Chains is my favorite band. I love Alice in Chains. You know, Layne's words helped me out at a time in my life where I really needed, he said some things I really just needed to hear in his own words. And he's very special to me. You know, as I sit here, I'm looking to my left at my Layne Stayley poster here in the studio. And it's cool, man. I find as I've gotten older, I even appreciate Layne's work now more than ever. And so many people do. That's why this episode is so sought out. He's such a special figure in the music community and in the world. You know, people who love Alice in Chains, like they adore Alice in Chains. They love Layne. He's so special to them. And he's just, you know, I think so many people just seek so much information out about him and his story and what people think of him. And that's why this episode is still to this day, and probably this one as well, is going to, you know, be listened to. Because he's just such a special figure in the world. And I hope that you guys enjoy it. This is an episode that I've never tried to recreate just because of the emotion that I had on this particular episode when I did it. You know, I was just very emotional about it when I did it. And, you know, I went back and spent a week just, you know, really thinking about Layne and listening to so much of his music. And not just Alice in Chains, but also, you know, like I'm a big fan of that Mad Season Above record as well. I love it. As well as his work with Class of 99 and other stuff that he did. So it was really, really a lot of fun. I also did a little quick guitar cover of a little bit of Nutshell in the beginning of this. That was a lot of fun. But again, this was a long time ago. So if you listen to this and you listen to that and go, whoa, like, this is a totally different dude, that's because this was a very long time ago. But either way, I appreciate you checking it out. Hope that you have fun and that you enjoy it. Of course, before we jump in, I want to give a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters, the Hotheads, my boy Will, and my boy Scotty. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so very much for all your support. And as well, of course, to the sponsors of the Hodder Show, J. Bridges Larts. If you need any graphic design stuff, t-shirts or anything like that, hit my boy up. I actually just got my Hodder Show t-shirts in that he did for me, and they are fantastic. I'm actually wearing one right now. Very comfortable. Love the design. jbridgesalerts.com, folks. Hit him up and let him know that Hodder sent you. And then, of course, if you have a beard and you know someone who has a beard and you need that beard taken care of, go on meanbeardco.com right now. The meanest beard care brand out there, folks. Use my coupon code MB15TJH. That is MB15TJH. TJH, all uppercase. Get yourself some Mean Beard. What are you doing? If you're not using Mean Beard right now, you're crazy. Well, unless you don't have a beard, then obviously that's fine. But you should grow a beard and then use Mean Beard, because it's the meanest beard care brand out there, folks. But with that out of the way, we're ready to jump in all the way back in our little time machine here that I'm looking at. We're going to jump on the time machine here to go all the way back to episode 19 of The Hodder Show. Let's go back in time. What is up, everybody? We're rolling on out here today, episode 19 of The Hodder Show. I hope you are doing absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me on this very special episode of The Hodder Show. A special Tuesday episode, and the significance of why I decided to do this podcast on this day. Obviously, I just got finished doing my WrestleMania coverage. I hope you guys enjoyed that very, very much. I know that there's been a lot of feedback about them so far. It was a crazy WrestleMania, but I'm not going to even talk about that remotely today, because there is something much more important to talk about. Not that WrestleMania and wrestling is not important or anything, but it occurred to me a couple weeks ago that there was a very special anniversary coming up in the world of music, and I guess my world of music. And I decided I wanted to do a little podcast on it. Nothing crazy today, just really kind of a quick, basic podcast about some stuff. So there's going to be no editing on this, no fancy tricks or anything of that nature. There's not even any studio music or anything. Just what you guys heard earlier was me just literally quickly jamming out a bit on GarageBand. So hopefully you guys enjoy that little ditty. But the anniversary that I'm talking about today is today, April 5th, is the anniversary of the death of a man who I never met, but inspired me more than most people I have met, if that makes any sense. And that man's name is Layne Stayley. And if you guys don't happen to know who Layne Stayley is, Layne Stayley was the vocalist for Alice in Chains for a very long time. He also sang for a couple other bands as well earlier in his career, like Sleaze, and then Alice N, like the letter N, Chains. They were more of like a glam rock bands there. But best known for his time in Alice in Chains. Really, I don't even know where to start. Talking about Layne Stayley. Obviously, as I mentioned, today is the anniversary of his death, and it's been 14 years since Layne Stayley passed away. And having never really known about Alice in Chains or Layne Stayley during the height of Alice in Chains' career, obviously, is a bit of a bummer. But seeing as how quickly and how much I got into them the first time I heard them, it's pretty crazy to think about. The fact that one band and one person had this profound effect on me. It's just crazy. The first time I really ever heard Alice in Chains, actually, it's kind of funny. I did talk about this on the my top 10 bands podcast that I did a few weeks ago. But I'll tell the story again real quick. The first time I actually ever saw or heard Alice in Chains, it actually had nothing to do with Layne, which is kind of funny to think about it. But I was watching, I was really into Nickelback at the time. And I was watching their Live at Home DVD that they did. And it got to a point in the set where Chad says, I'd like to take this time to introduce a very good friend of mine, Mr. Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains. And I'm sitting there going, oh, who's this dude? And he walks in, and I'm like, man, who's this lanky, long-haired dude? And long story short, they played It Ain't Like That. And I did not know music could sound like that. It just corrupted me for the rest of my life. The guitar work and just going from, if anyone who knows the song It Ain't Like That, it goes from like kind of like that that major riff, into that really heavy chuggy dun 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 dun. I'm sitting here like freaking singing the song to you guys, but you look up the song, or if you know the song, you'll know what I mean. And like I said, I didn't know music could sound like that, so I was like, holy cow! So immediately I had to look up the original version of the song, and that was the first time I ever experienced Layne Stayley. And when I first heard him, I didn't think he sounded very good. I was like, man, this guy sounds weird. And I just kind of went, whatever, and didn't really think much else of it. I liked the song, and I was like, oh, it's okay, and I think I may have heard Man in the Box and Rooster again as like at that time as well. And I was like, okay, cool, like they're good, but like it didn't like totally like sell me on them, you know what I mean? And one day I'm sitting on YouTube, and I was listening to the Nirvana MTV Unplugged, watching it, and I just noticed in the videos beside it, it said, this was before YouTube was kind of crazy with the whole recommended videos. Now they're all over the bloody place, but at that time it was very like, it was usually something that was similar to what you were watching, like very, very similar. So it literally just said Alice in Chains MTV Unplugged. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll have to check this out. So I was really into unplugged stuff and acoustic music at that time. And I sat down and I decided I'm just going to click on the first video I see of it. And I clicked on it, and it happened to be an unplugged version of Angry Chair. Now, anyone who knows Alice in Chains, you know that song, because that is a fully Layne Stayley written song. Both the lyrics, the guitar work, everything, it's all him. And, well, as far as the main riff in that. And that song, it did something to me. And I'm not sure still to this day what it was, but it just completely changed my life forever. And I texted my buddy, Brandon, like immediately, and I was like, dude, like, what is this? Like, I did not know music could sound like this. I love Alice in Chains. Layne Stayley is amazing, blah, 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 blah. And from that day forward, I started seeking out all Alice in Chains I possibly could. I went ahead and bought the MTV Unplugged album, which is kind of funny to think about it. That was the first Alice in Chains album I bought. And I listened to all the songs. And of course, them starting off their MTV Unplugged set with the song Nutshell, which is a bit of the song you guys heard in the intro there. I was like, that's like one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in my life. But still, it's heavy. Like, the lyrical content is very heavy, and what he says in that, and it was just, I was like, holy crap! And that's another Layne Stayley written song. And I just, goddamn, like, this is like, what is, like, I didn't know music could sound like this. I can't stress that enough. Just, I was blown away, and there's a bunch of other, I can't remember the set list at the top of my head right now, but they played a few more songs, and another song they played that really got me on that, because it was so different and just kind of weird, was a song called Frogs. Yes, Frogs. It was just this really weird, slow song, and again, another Layne Stayley penned lyrics, and I could just feel like whatever he was singing about, I was like, God damn, that's deep, like that's real. And that's what I think really struck a chord with me, was I've always been someone who, the music has to be real. And when I first heard Layne Stayley do his thing, and I heard some of the lyrics he wrote in that, I was like, oh my God, like this is real. This is as real as it gets. It's raw. His voice is just, it's unlike anything you will ever hear and we will ever hear again. And that's so apparent on all their records. And even watching the evolution, like, I mean, it's kind of funny how I started off with MTV Unplugged, and then I went out and I bought Facelift, their first, well, technically their first studio record. They did have the EP before that, but I went out and bought that, and I was kind of thrown off when I put it in because it was so different from what I had heard. At that point, they were still kind of trying to find their sound. Like, there was some more, almost like swingy, like, I can't even explain, really bluesy stuff on that record. And really great stuff on there. I mean, I love that record front to back. But there was a song on that record that still to this day, it's a song that I love that song. I love jamming out to that song. And that song is Love, Hate, Love. And it is, I don't know who he wrote that song about, but goddamn, I would have loved to have sat down and heard the story behind that song, because it is some dark, dark, dark stuff. So I was like, man, like, this guy is messed up, but still, it's beautiful. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's funny how there's a lot of, like, awesome songs on that record. And a lot of people say, oh, you like Alice in Chains? Yeah, I love Man in the Box and Rooster and all this stuff. And I always love to meet other, like, Alice in Chains fans, because there's a lot of people who they'll say, oh, like, what are some of your favorite Alice in Chains songs? And I'll tell them, you know, Nutshell, Love, Hate, Love, Angry Chair, Frogs. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a real Alice in Chains fan. I know my songs. But one of the coolest things was the day that I went out and got Dirt, which I really consider probably my favorite album of all time, let alone my favorite Alice in Chains album. Because that album, they really found their sound. And that record, to this day, I put it in, and it's just, it blows my mind still. Layne's voice on that record was probably at its prime, I would say. On their third record in between there, it was as well. But that record, I really feel like he kind of came into what exactly he was going for with his voice. There's so many songs on that record that I could talk about, but I first heard, obviously, the studio version of Angry Chair, blew me away. I didn't even know what to do with myself when I first heard the studio version, and the heaviness of it and the solo and everything. I was just like, holy crap, like I can't, you know? And there was another song on that record that I really like, and a lot of people always say to me, well, it's kind of similar to Angry Chair, and I'm like, no, it's not. Fuck off. That song is Hate to Feel, and it is another Layne Stayley penned and written song, and it is such a cool tune, very dark, but again, real lyrical content, and that's what I always loved about Layne. I sat down today to do this just for I usually always make a big status or something on this day and talk about a bunch of stuff, and a lot of people tend to really pay attention to the fact that, well, today isn't just the anniversary of the death of Layne Stayley, but it is also the anniversary of the death of another famous musician, also from the grunge era. Obviously, as everyone knows, is Kurt Cobain. And I mean, I love Nirvana and I love Kurt Cobain and everything, and, you know, I could do a podcast on that too, but a lot of people tend to focus on that, and I feel like a lot of people forget about Layne Stayley, and that's something that I think the world needs to remember, that he was a guy who he did a lot in such a short time with music. And, you know, Alice in Chains only released 3 albums with Layne, 3 full albums, and the discography they have is amazing. And, you know, I've just mentioned a few Alice in Chains songs that I really, really love. And people always say to me, oh, like, you know, so you're a big Alice in Chains fan, so like you like Layne Stayley? And I'm like, I love Layne Stayley. And they're like, oh yeah, like, what do you think about the new stuff? And I love new Alice in Chains, as much as I love old Alice in Chains. But there are times where I go, man, what if? The day I found out Layne Stayley passed away was obviously long after he actually passed away. I probably discovered Alice in Chains about, I want to say about 2006, somewhere in that ballpark. And I just didn't know he passed away. And I used to have this thing of where I would always look up everything about a band. I'd want to know everything about the band. And I discovered he passed away. And I mean, I was heartbroken. It was, it sucked because it was like a dream of mine to see them live. And I've seen Alice in Chains live 3 times, and it's always been a wonderful experience. And I love Alice in Chains still to this day. I cannot stress that enough. William Duvall does an absolutely amazing job doing what he does. But, there's always that small part of me that's like, man, I wish I could have just, even once, seen Layne Stayley actually perform live, because going off of videos and live performance tracks and stuff like that, I mean, it would have been an experience just to get to witness him live, even near the end. I mean, unfortunately, as he came to the end of his life in the early 2000s, he started getting very heavily into drugs, and I mean, he had drug problems and depression problems and that his whole life, but it was really near the end there that it really started getting really bad, and a lot of stuff happened in his personal life, and it was really brutal. And at that, even that MTV Unplugged that they did, they performed the song Wood, which is an amazing song. It's not actually a Layne Stayley written song, but near the end of the song, there's a lyric that he literally says, "Am I wrong? Have I run too far to get home?" And the way he sings it, and when he looks at you, because the whole performance, he's wearing sunglasses of this MTV Unplugged performance. He takes it off like halfway through. And I mean, you can tell by looking at him, he's not well. He's just not well at all. And during that part there, I just mentioned, he looks at the camera, and it's like, literally, he's staring into your soul, like asking for help. I can't even explain it other than that. Like, just, it was, it's a hard thing to watch, even now that, I mean, I never met the guy. It almost, I'm just like, man, like, if only, because it's an absolutely tragic story, what happened with him in his life. And obviously the legacy he left behind is one that will never be forgotten. That's one reason why I am doing this little podcast here, just for even any kind of reach or following I have gathered over the last little bit. If there's someone listening who maybe has never really listened to Alice in Chains before, or who've never experienced Layne Stayley before, I implore you, please go and search out Alice in Chains and Layne Stayley. If nothing I have said has really made you want to, then I haven't done my job. But really the whole point of what I wanted to get across today was just how much Layne Stayley and his words that he said and the music of Alice in Chains really does mean to me. And that's kind of a hard thing to get across in words. I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I don't know a lot of big fancy words and all that. I used implore earlier, which is hilarious. That's probably like one of the quote unquote biggest words I know. But so for me to get something like that across, I basically have to ramble on until my point gets across, hopefully. So definitely check out a few of the songs I've mentioned that are some of my favorite Alice in Chains songs. It was Nutshell, Angry Chair, Love, Hate to Feel, and then Frogs. The MTV Unplugged performance is amazing. Dirt, the self-titled record, they call it the dog record because there's a picture of a dog on the front of it. And then Facelift as well. Also the EPs, Sap. There's so much good stuff out there from Alice in Chains. And even a couple kind of deep cuts.
if you seek out that stuff and you really dig it and you want to kind of check out more Layne Stayley, he did perform vocals for 2 other bands that kind of near. He took a little bit of a hiatus from Alice in Chains at one point. And he worked with a band called Mad Season. And there's 2 songs from them that I really, really like. One is River of Deceit, which is kind of probably their best known song. Really cool tune. And the other song is I Don't Know Anything, which is a very cool kind of, the riff is very droning and just like, it's a really cool song. But another song that is really cool, and I didn't really know about this until probably a couple years ago. One day I was kind of doing some searching, and I found this band, Class of 99. From what I can gather, they only really did 1 song, and it's, I don't remember the other members of the band, but there was Tom Morello playing guitar, which right off the bat is cool, and Layne Stayley did vocals. Right off the bat, if that doesn't sound cool to you, then I don't know what else to tell you. And they did a cover of Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall. And it was for a movie, I think it was called, it was this weird horror movie, or sci-fi horror movie. Oh, it was The Faculty, I think. I don't really remember, but something of that nature. But it's Class of 99, Another Brick in the Wall. And it's, hearing Layne Stayley sing those words is very cool. Just really cool deep cuts kind of, and I mean, that's, like I said, that's the main point I wanted to get across this podcast. I'm sitting here kind of just in kind of a weird mood. I'm always in a weird mood on this day. I don't know why. It's funny when I'll have people over to my place, and in my living room there is there's this poster I got for Christmas a few years ago. It's a picture of Layne Stayley, and has like the date of his death and birth and everything. And I always kind of like kept it in my room and everything. And now in my living room behind my TV, it's up on the wall. And people always trying to get a kick out of it. You know, I'll have my buddies over and they'll be like, "Really, dude?" You know, and I'm like, "Yeah," like it's that, you know, it's that big of a deal to me. That's it's up there. And my trusty Beaver Creek acoustic I have that I played that little intro there on today, I actually I didn't have a name for it, and I don't name all my guitars, but there's a couple I have that I've named, and I really wanted to name that particular guitar, and I had no idea what to name it. And the day I found out that Layne Stayley passed away, I'm like, his name's Layne. That just is what it is. So my trusty sidekick has been named Layne in tribute to him. And I always joke around that I'm going to name my firstborn child, if they're a boy, I'm going to name him Layne. That's always kind of the big joke going around. And that's, you know, that's really it for today, guys. I just, I was debating on even making a podcast. I was going to just put up a really big, nice status, and I was like, you know what? Like, it's a podcast. What the hell am I putting up statuses for? You know, I'll just quickly nail something out, and if it turns out to be me rambling on about Layne Stayley and Alice in Chains for however long it is, so be it. I had this weird feeling when I sat down to do this, and I kind of wanted to get everything out I had to say. Like I said, you know, there's no editing or anything of that nature on this one at all. I'm literally just going to upload it. Usually at least I'll sit down and kind of at least edit out like silences. And if there's like a section where I just have no idea what I'm saying, I'll edit that out and stuff. But none of that today. I feel really good right now. I feel like I just kind of wanted to get some of that stuff off the old chest here. And just in closing, guys, some people are like, you know, you're really sentimental about this. And I'm just like, you know what? You got to be sentimental about stuff, because in this day and age, there's so much negativity and bullshit in the world. You got to cling on to something good. And if that is listening to Alice in Chains and that's your thing, make that your thing and do that. That's what I did for many, many years. And I thank everyone in Alice in Chains for that. And I thank Layne Stayley for that, because those guys, and Layne especially, at a time when I didn't really have a voice, and I was still kind of searching for who I was and everything. He definitely had a hand in that. Just something as silly as through a song, through something as silly as just literally one lyric, one little line that I heard, and for some reason everything made sense. And I kind of laugh about it now, but it's really true. And it's a nutshell. And the lyric is literally, he says, and I quote, "If I can't be my own, I'd feel better dead." And at a time in my life when I didn't know who I was or who I should be, should I conform to this? Should I go out and drink every night because that's what all the cool people do? But I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And just hearing something so subtle as like that, the little lyric, it literally changed my life. And I don't know if it was the way it was presented to me or what, but that one lyric is what I try to live my life by. If I can't be my own, I'd feel better dead. Which is literally just, if I can't be the person I want to be and do what I want to do, then what's the point? And I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to. And that's Layne Stayley for you. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to share this with any Alice in Chains fans or Layne Stayley fans today. Obviously, it's really a day for celebration, not for mourning. I mean, especially the fact that he's been gone for as long as he has. Celebrate. Listen to Alice in Chains. I will be literally cranking Alice in Chains all day today. That's literally what is going to happen the second I turn off this podcast. So if you excuse me, I'm going to go do that. Thank you guys so much. And I will catch you guys next time on The Hodder Show.